The air was thick with the scent of expensive perfume and sizzling filet mignon. Crystal chandeliers cast a golden glow over the white linen tables, where wealthy patrons clinked glasses of vintage wine. But in the corner of this high-end restaurant, a storm was brewing. A man in a tailored suit, his face tipped with arrogance, snapped his fingers at the nearest waitress. "You, hurry up with my drink," he barked, as if she were beneath him. The waitress, a young black woman named Ava, forced a polite smile. She'd dealt with difficult customers before, but this one was different. His eyes gleamed with something far worse than impatience: cruelty. "Sir, your martini will be right out," she said calmly, only for him to sneer. "I bet it's hard to understand simple English where you're from." The nearby diners froze. Ava's hands trembled, but her voice stayed steady. Little did he know, this humiliation would be the match that lit a fire of epic payback. Ever been treated like you're invisible? Like your worth is measured by someone else's arrogance? Today's story isn't just about revenge, it's about dignity. And trust me, by the end, you'll be cheering for Ava like she's your own sister. Here's how one waitress turned the tables on a racist rich jerk in a way no one saw coming. Let's rewind to where it all began. The air in the restaurant was thick with the scent of expensive perfume and simmering tension. Ava, the waitress, moved with the grace of someone who'd spent years navigating polished floors and sharper egos. Her smile was steady, but her knuckles whitened around the tray as the wealthy man at table 12 snapped his fingers again. "Didn't I say no ice?" he sneered, pushing his vodka tonic toward her. "Or is that too complicated for you?" His laugh was a blade wrapped in silk. Nearby diners glanced away, pretending not to hear. But Ava heard. She always did. This wasn't her first rodeo with entitled customers, but something about the way his eyes raked over her uniform, dripping with condescension, ignited a quiet fire in her chest. And then came the kicker. They should really hire people who fit the ambience, he muttered to his companion, loud enough for her to catch. The unspoken words hung like smoke. Meanwhile, the man introducing himself as Mr. Harrington III to anyone who de-listened draped his designer suit over the chair like a king claiming his throne. His watch cost more than Ava's rent, and oh, he made sure everyone knew it. "Chop chop," he smirked, tapping his glass. But here's what he didn't see. The flicker in Ava's eyes as she memorized the way he took his coffee, the way his lip curled at the sight of the help. Details mattered. And Ava was a woman who knew how to wait for the perfect moment. And then it happened. The moment Mr. Harrington crossed the line from rude to downright cruel. He snapped his fingers at Ava like she was a dog, his voice dripping with disdain. "You people always mess up the simplest orders," he said loud enough for the entire diner to hear. The air froze. Other customers stopped mid-bite, eyes darting between Ava and Harrington. Her hands tightened around the coffee pot, knuckles turning white. But her face? Stone cold, professional. That's when Harrington leaned in, smirked, and dropped the bomb. "Maybe if you focus more on your job and less on whatever else you people do, you'd actually be good at this." The gasp from the nearby tables was audible. Ava's chest burned, but she didn't flinch. She knew this game. Rich folks like him thought money meant immunity. They thought humiliation was a one-way street. But Ava, she'd been keeping score. Every sugar packet he tossed on the floor for fun. Every time he joked about her tips being charity. And this was the final straw. The diner's manager rushed over, apologizing to Harrington, not to Ava. That's when she saw it, the glint of Harrington's platinum watch slipping off as he gestured wildly. It clattered to the floor near her foot. In that split second, Ava made her choice. She accidentally stepped on it as she walked away, the crunch of glass under her shoes softer than the pounding in her ears. Harrington's roar of outrage was her soundtrack as she disappeared into the kitchen. The war was on. And oh, this was just the first move. The kitchen door swung shut behind Ava, muffling Harrington's outraged screams. Her hands trembled not from fear, but from the fire simmering in her chest. That watch? Just the opening act. She leaned against the stainless steel counter, the cold surface grounding her as her mind raced. Revenge wasn't about reckless rage. It was calculated, precise. Like a chess game where Harrington didn't even know he was playing. Around her, the diner buzzed with oblivious chatter. Dishes clattered, but Ava, she was in her own world. Every insult Harrington had hurled replayed in her head. The sneer, the way he'd snapped his fingers at her like she was a dog. Worse, the smug satisfaction in his eyes when she'd stayed professional. But oh, that was his mistake, underestimating her. Ava glanced at the order tickets pinned above the grill. Routine, predictable, just like Harrington's power move of flashing his wealth. But here's the thing about rich jerks, their arrogance makes them blind. She wiped her hands slowly on her apron, a plan crystallizing. Phase 1 hit his ego. Phase 2 hit his wallet. And Phase 3, leave him scrambling to explain why the help outsmarted him. She smirked, grabbing a ketchup bottle. Accidents happened all the time in restaurants, didn't they? And Harrington's allergy to attention? Perfect. The real game began now. Quietly, methodically, because the best revenge wasn't loud. It was the quiet click of a trap snapping shut. The kitchen doors swung shut behind Ava, muffling the furious sputtering of Harrington as he inspected his ruined watch. She didn't need to see his face to know the storm brewing. But storms, they pass. And what she had planned, it would leave scars. Her fingers tightened around the ketchup bottle, cold, slick, innocent. The perfect trap. Harrington's table was accident-prone today. A spilled drink here, a mistaken order there. Tiny humiliations, each meticulously timed. But the masterpiece? His special lunch? Ava had overheard him boasting about his refined palate to his companions earlier. So when his steak arrived medium rare, just how he never ate it, the theatrics began. This is inedible. He barked, shoving the plate away. The manager scurried over, apologizing, offering to comp the meal. But Ava, she let her voice tremble just right. I wrote down exactly what you said, sir. The table of onlookers froze because she had. His own words recited back to him in front of his smirking friends. Checkmate. Harrington's face darkened. The trap wasn't just sprung, it was broadcasting live on his ego. Every eye in the diner watched as the powerful man got schooled by the help. And the best part, he couldn't explode. Not without looking unhinged. So he sat there stewing while Ava blinked up at him with practiced innocence. Should I? Get you a new fork, sir? The room held its breath. This wasn't just revenge. This was art. The air in the diner was thick with tension like static before a storm. Harrington's face turned a shade of red normally reserved for stop signs, but he couldn't scream. Not without proving Ava right. The other customers, they weren't just watching. They were remembering every snide remark he'd ever made, every entitled demand, and now the universe had balanced the scales. Then came the whispers. Did you see that? He totally deserved it. Tables buzzed with quiet laughter, forks clinking like applause. Ava didn't gloat. She just wiped the counter, humming, because revenge tastes sweetest when served with silence. But here's the kicker. Harrington's humiliation didn't end there. By morning, the video of his meltdown had gone viral. #karma. His golf buddies saw it. His wife saw it. Even his boss saw it. Suddenly, the man who treated service staff like furniture was the punchline of every joke. And Ava, she got a promotion. Not just for exceptional customer service, but because courage is contagious. The other workers stood taller that day. They'd seen the unspoken rule shattered. Respect isn't optional. Now, here's what no one tells you about karma. It doesn't just punish. It teaches. Harrington. He came back a week later. No sneer. No demands. Just a quiet thank you to the staff. Some call it growth. Ava calls it a start. That moment when Ava turned the tables. It wasn't just about one rich jerk getting a taste of his own medicine. It was a masterclass in standing up against racism, something most of us struggle with every single day. Ever been in that spot where someone throws a microaggression your way and your stomach melts up? You freeze. You wonder, did that really just happen? And then comes the worst part, the silence. From others, from you. Because here's the ugly truth, racism thrives when good people do nothing. But Ava, she rewrote the script, and her blueprint is something we can all use. First key, name it to disarm it. Racists love ambiguity. They hide behind jokes or just asking questions. When Ava repeated Harrington's words verbatim, she forced the room to hear the ugliness out loud. Try this next time, mirror their exact words back with a pause. Watch them squirm. Second weapon, strength in numbers. Ava didn't stand alone for long. Once she spoke up, others followed. See, racism isolates, but courage, it's contagious. That's why Harrington came back humbled. He realized the diner wasn't just servers and cooks. It was a united front. Now let's talk consequences. What if Ava had stayed quiet? Harrington would have left thinking his behavior was acceptable. Worse, the staff would have absorbed that message too. Racism isn't just about the big, loud moments. It's the quiet surrenders that shape a culture. But here's the game changer. Standing up isn't about changing them. It's about freeing you. Ava didn't wait for Harrington's apology to feel powerful. She claimed it in the moment. That's how you turn pain into purpose. Because justice isn't something you wait for, it's something you serve up yourself, hot and fresh. So here's the raw truth. What Ava did wasn't just about one racist customer. It was a masterclass in turning humiliation into unshakable power. Remember how she flipped the script? Named Harrington's racism out loud. United her coworkers not with whispers, but with a rallying cry. And here's the kicker. She didn't need his apology to reclaim her dignity. That's the mic drop moment. Now picture this. What if you could transform every slight, every unfair moment into fuel for your fire? Not by waiting for permission, but by acting just like Ava. The world doesn't change by hoping. It changes when somebody dares to be the first to say, enough. And guess what? That somebody could be you. But let's get real. This isn't just a feel-good story. It's a straight-up blueprint. Right now, toxic people are counting on your silence. They're betting you'll shrink, or worse, blame yourself. Here's how you break that cycle. Hit subscribe now, not later, because next week, we're dropping a video exposing the 3 tactics toxic people use to manipulate you. You'll want to be the first to see it. And if you're watching this, you're already part of the rebellion. Before you go, smash that like button. Let's get this video to 5 OK likes, so algorithms push it to more people who need this message. Then drop a comment. I don't stay silent because your words might be the nudge someone else needs today. Oh, and the first 100 comments, they'll get a surprise DM from me with an exclusive clip from our next video. Last thing, ever notice how the darkest rooms are shattered by the smallest spark? Ava was that spark. Her story isn't just about her, it's about us. Because when enough sparks fly, that's how wildfires start. And wildfires, they don't ask permission to burn. When someone like Ava names racism, it does two things. First, it takes away its power. Racism thrives in silence. Second, it gives others permission to act. Think of it like dominoes. Push one and the rest start to fall. Ever heard of the bystander effect? It's when people see something wrong but do nothing because everyone else is staying quiet. But here's the twist. If one person steps forward, others will too. Ava broke that cycle. And guess what? It didn't just happen in her office. Take the story of Lakeisha, a nurse in Chicago. Her boss made jokes about her hair, calling it unprofessional because of its texture. For months, Lakeisha forced a smile. Then she heard about Ava's stand. That same week, she sat her boss down. No anger, just truth. When you say that, it hurts, she told him. Silence followed, but the next day, he apologized. Not just to her, to the whole team. This is the power of showing up. One small act echoes further than you'd think. Now let's get real. Fighting racism isn't just about big moments. It's about everyday choices. Here's how you can start right where you are. Notice the silence. When something feels off, ask why no one's speaking. Too often, people stay quiet because they think they're alone. Trust your gut. If a joke or comment bothers you, it probably bothers others too. You're not overreacting. Find your Ava ***. Maybe you're not ready to speak up yet. That's okay. Support someone who does. A simple, I agree, changes everything. Celebrate tiny wins. Did a coworker shut down a stereotype today? Point it out. That meant a lot. Goes farther than you think. Change isn't about being fearless. It's about acting despite fear. Ava was scared. Lakeisha was scared. But they did it anyway. And their workplaces, they'll never be the same. Now, here's your challenge. Where's your moment? Maybe it's speaking up. Maybe it's listening. Either way, start where you stand, because history isn't made by heroes. It's made by people who choose to show up day after day. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, the next chapter, it's yours to write. Go change the story.